Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Looking at the African continent, and specifically as the country of the Gambia, we've been talking about innovation and technology advancements. Many people think of computing, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, but actually agriculture really is the new best green path forward for the universe. And on the African continent, almost still 50% of the people are somehow connected with agriculture. And we're talking about women and women leadership, and we have the Innovate Gambia and the Woman Boss with Awamary, who is the founder of these. And looking at technology, but also looking at how we're going to feed a continent that within 5 short years almost added 300 million people to a continent of 54 nations. And they're expecting about 2 billion people, maybe even now before 2050. So Awamary, tell us a little bit about, and let's do it quickly, about Innovate Gambia, the Woman Boss. Well, let's start tying this environmental and agricultural theme into that, not as something as of the far distant past and the thing that nobody wants to do, but the future and how it really can be very exciting, but absolutely necessary if we're going to heal the planet and to protect Mother Earth.
Sure. So if you look at Innovate Gambia as a whole, with the different initiatives, when we thought about it, not only technology is very important, but how do you use technology to actually boost agriculture was one of the ideas that we had. So right now, if you look at agriculture itself in Africa, is $1 trillion business right now. And lots of investment. Obviously, you have the Chinese there, the Indians coming in to take advantage of what we have. We have really good pastures, a good soil for to create that good agricultural base. And so we're talking about in terms of Innovate Gambia is how can we use the drones? How can we do precision agriculture to actually help boost agriculture as a whole? So pretty much Innovate Gambia wants to help agriculture become sexy again.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. And looking at the continent, people don't realize, we think of it as oil, natural gas, diamonds, gold, coltan, which goes into all the cell phones and all that.
Sure.
But the continent is an agricultural powerhouse. It was for thousands of years, went into these monocultures for the Europeans, but now it's starting to emerge and looking at markets, export markets all over the globe. How do you see the continent itself, just beyond, the Gambia, as being this agricultural and economic powerhouse?
Sure. I mean, right now, if you look at the entirely, like I mentioned earlier, it's agriculture, especially in the Gambia that I can actually speak about. Gambia and Senegal, I've seen numerous projects right now that are happening for both of them, and all in terms of agriculture. We have lots. If you look at the soil itself, we can grow lots of grains without, waiting for the rain and so on. But if you look at, especially for Senegal and the Gambia right now, currently we're in rainy season. We have the rain, we have the sun, we have the soil for it. So we have lots of various farms that are being harvested right now to make sure that it can grow food, and not only to export as a business, obviously, but to also feed Africans to alleviate poverty and hunger.
Now, looking at the Gambia, we think about it's a very small country. It's stretched, very thinly over towards the
Mhm.
heart of Africa. But if you look at it strategically, having, its own seaports, having river that literally runs through the entire nation, and then located on the Atlantic Ocean, I mean, it's
Yeah.
strategically placed in some ways better than far larger countries.
Absolutely. If you look at the entire, it looks like the Gambia is actually sits inside Senegal, but it's the British colony.
Mhm.
That's why you see some of the names. Obviously, they kind of change, but you still see the Georgetown there. So it's a British colony, but majority obviously speak English. And Senegal surrounding it, they're francophone, so they speak French.
Mhm.
But inside, within the Gambia itself, you see the river running right through it. So we have swamps, we have lots of oysters all around the river, the river Gambia. We have lots of seafood. So we have fresh seafood that we export out. We have peanuts, we have, and lots of, fruits and vegetables that can actually grow. So the environment is very, very important. It's making sure how do we maintain what we have, the resources, the natural resources that we have right now. And that's been actually for some of the women that are going through the program, they actually focus on that. One of them wants to actually grow more trees. One of the young girls right now that for the school ambassadors program that you're looking at, she actually wants to grow trees around her community to make sure that you have, clean air, and clean water and etc. for them. And then some of the women, like I mentioned, they have trash and recycling projects. How do they make things with recycle things that we already have, whether it's calabashes or bottles and so on and so forth. So thinking of ways to actually make the environment better.
Now, looking at educating women and I like the term you use, making agriculture sexy again. How do you do that through education and through your Innovate Gambia and the Woman Boss? So, just this young lady right here wants to plant the trees. That's how I started when I was 8 years of age. That was
Yeah.
one of my first two projects. One was forestry, the other was soil conservation. And it's important to learn at this age, but when you get on stage and you're seeing the city and all that, how do you move these ladies forward to say, agriculture really can be sexy, and by the way, you can make a lot of money doing this.
Absolutely. And so, in some ways, I tell for even the men that I come across, because agriculture in the Gambia, unfortunately, it's been so looked down upon because
Mhm.
it was back in the day, you have to get an education to go to school. And people that are uneducated, they go into the farms and they work. And so now it's changing that to say, okay, you can actually do both. You can be educated and then go in and owning a farm, and you don't have to be there, or you could be there if it's a passion of yours. But I tell all the women is that whatever you're doing, even looking at the picture here, one of them actually makes shampoos and conditioners and oils, etc.
Mhm.
From scratch, using products locally, cre- um, uh, grown by women. So what I tell them is that find that social aspect of your enterprises and actually get all local products, and make sure that you don't look for outside, but helping the women farmers, it's such a big component of that. And how do we utilize what we currently have in the country?
Now, looking at the energy, I really like this photograph that you provided here because you see these huge smiles. You can feel the energy. They're moving forward. So, looking at the future of the Gambia and women really being in key leadership roles, how do you see that affecting, the total society? Yes, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, but at the same time, how do we do agriculture? And also specialty agriculture, just talking about the shampoos, the soaps, the cosmetics.
Mhm.
That's the great value added of agriculture, as you take something very
Absolutely.
small that you can even grow in your own garden plot right in the middle of the city, and it can be worth thousands of dollars.
Absolutely. If you look at overall, like I mentioned, the woman boss, if you see all these happy women, we got together after a cohort and said, let's do a picnic. But most of it's that, how do we care about the environment? And that's been a major thing for me personally. In terms of agriculture and women, it's, the women that are going through it. How do you utilize, again, women farmers and their products and so on? So actually, for the next step for the Woman Boss, I actually have a program that I'll be implementing hopefully this fall, and it's for women farmers. It's for rural women and rural farmers. And the problem that we have in Africa, in the Gambia, is that we have we're not utilizing different seeds. It's how do we diversify different products, and to make sure that they can have that and have access to that.
Now, how do you join together the women farmers you want to increase so they have a beyond a living wage, so they can actually send their daughters and sons and the school uniforms and the books and all these things so important, but also they really have to take care of their elders at the same time. So how do you link this back into the urban areas and even international markets, just like this lady that's sitting here, so that you have the mercantile and the agriculture working hand in hand, and they're complementing each other?
Absolutely. And I think the great thing is that for me, with my exposure internationally, I have a lot of people that want to support what I do from the international outside, especially when in terms of agriculture. I have women that have already contacted me and that says, I want to donate some seeds for you, so you can help diversify some of the, the products that these women are growing. So some of the foods, etc., like I mentioned, having just growing onions and everybody selling onions, it's not going to bring you profit. So how can we mix it up with cucumbers and et cetera, and et cetera? And so how do I connect? So now it's that creating access to market. It's my next step, is how do I connect the outside world with the local women and what they want to do.
And looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, that's what we're looking in here through the United Nations. How are you inculcating this into the ladies, no matter what age they are, K-12, university, and out into the communities? How do you bring this wheel here of the Sustainable Development Goals alive, so they realize this is in my life that I need to be doing this?
Absolutely. We actually have it on the wall that you saw, the Woman Boss. On the other side is actually, I painted the Sustainable Development Goals. I am in no way funded by the United Nations at all, but I just love what they signify. And, aside from gender equality that we focus on, every woman and their initiative and what they're working on their projects or their businesses I can say that every one of the 17 that we have been touched. So whether it's, to clean energy, or creating better and equitable jobs, and the live sea and et cetera. We have women that are fisher women, I have to call them, women in agriculture. We have women in technology. We have women in green energy and climate, and so on. So every one of them, I can honestly say that if it's not for the Woman Bosses, at least we want to make sure that diversifying of women are actually being seen at the space, and it's just not one particular type of industry that we're looking at.
Got 10 seconds. What do you see for the growth and development 5, 10, 15 years for Innovate Gambia, the Woman Boss?
I would actually love to see that this doesn't, replicated not only right now we're in the urban city, obviously.
5 seconds.
And then I would like to see it obviously in the rural Gambia. That would be great for me.
Fantastic. Awamary Khan, thank you for being with us as we look around
Thank
the
you
globe
so much for having me.
to create the Emerald Planet.